It's Manchester United transfer news, and oh my God, have we got a download for you this morning. Get your words out. I'm in a different surrounding. I'm a bit nervous, but I shouldn't be. There is so much to get into on the show this morning. We've got more bids coming in. We've got bids being rejected. We've got bids that aren't even real. So let's get into it. We're going to be talking about UGARTE. I've spoken to Fabrizio. He's given me an update on that. There was apparently a bid last night. Let's talk about that. Branthwaite bid rejected. What do we do about that? Aaron Wan-Bissaka apparently going to be going to West Ham are going to bid for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. We've also got an update on Ivan Toney, Calvert-Lewin being linked to Manchester United. What does that mean if we are going to sign Xerxes? Do you sign Calvert-Lewin or Toney as well? What's that all about? That was genuinely in the Athletic this morning. David Hanko, don't really know much about him, plays for Feyenoord. We'll talk about him as well. Yoro, Madrid, we'll talk about him. Greenwood update just coming in from Fabrizio Romano in the last few minutes as well. Manchester United, as we were talking about last night with Chris Wheeler, £27 million plus a substantial sell-on fee looks like a very, very good deal. Orcas is disgusted by Calvert-Lewin. Well, look, let's get straight into the show. Update on UGARTE. Thanks everyone who tuned in last night. We did the 8 o'clock show and then we were live again, just again at 10 o'clock because this news broke about a Branthwaite bid. What's happening with Branthwaite? Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But whilst we were live on air, a lot of you were going, Goldbridge, UGARTE bid. We checked it out. It was a journalist from Spain, from France, saying that Man United have bid £38 million, 45 million euros for Manchester United. Man United have bid for UGARTE. I said at the time, we've got to be very, very careful about transfer news. We've been doing this for years. When you get Chris Wheeler and Fabrizio Romano confirming it, saying that Man United have put a second bid in for Branthwaite, you know it's true. But you can't just throw in a French journalist saying we bid for UGARTE and believe that's true as well. I've spoke to Fabrizio this morning. I don't think he's tweeted it yet because I basically said, you know, this bid for UGARTE, is there anything going to come out? He said no official bid has gone in for Manchester United for UGARTE and certainly not for 45 million euros. So where that is at the moment, I don't know. I mean, is there a bid about to go in? Where's this French journalist getting the information from? Remember the 5 strands of a transfer, though. You've got, it's genuinely true. It's genuinely nonsense. It's the agent trying to generate interest. It's PSG trying to generate interest. Or it's the agent trying to get a new contract at PSG. And I think with this French journalist, no one else is backing it up, saying that Man United have bid 45 million euros. Why? What's the angle on that? You know, is it PSG trying to get us moving? I don't know. But we are working on other deals at the moment. So I don't think that the UGARTE bid necessarily is our focus, especially with, you know, I would imagine that that French journalist had that story ready for Tuesday night and then the Branthwaite story comes out and it just doesn't make sense. And as Jan says, it could just be PSG putting the price out there, which to be honest with you, £38 million with add-ons for UGARTE probably isn't that bad. I mean, I saw last night, we're not going to talk about De Ligt, we've got so much to talk about, but I saw last night that with De Ligt, people were saying that, I can't remember who it was, somebody in the chat will know, I'll keep an eye on it, or it's Spin, says WFQ. Hearing about Hanko as a Slovak is amazing, he's really good both defensively and attacking wise, says Mythic. We're going to talk about him in a moment, mentioned in the Athletic piece, which also mentions Toney and Calvert-Lewin, but going back to what I was saying about UGARTE and 38 million, I saw a story last night and I forget who it was. It might have been Chris Wheeler again, saying that Man United are expected to agree a deal with De Ligt and Bayern Munich for 43 million pounds. What do you think about a bid for 43 million pounds? Do you think that's a lot of money? Do you think that's too much money? I think with Calvert-Lewin, and sorry, not with Calvert-Lewin, that's way too much for him. I wouldn't give him 43p. We'll talk about him in a minute. 43 million pounds for De Ligt sounds like a lot of money. Bayern Munich 2 years ago paid 68 million pounds. So I think that, you know, maybe a drop off of 20 million over 2 years is probably about right. He is under 25, but it's all about the price, isn't it? It's all about the price that you pay, and I think that Man United aren't going to pay silly prices. But with UGARTE, what I'm telling you this morning is, and it's come from Fabrizio, is that no official bid has gone in from Manchester United yet for UGARTE, and certainly not for 45 million euros. So that story that came out last night, bit premature. We are interested in UGARTE. Even in The Athletic, it says every journalist is saying that we're interested in UGARTE. So we are interested, but the bid hasn't gone in. So all these people this morning, typing away about UGARTE bids or gobbing off about UGARTE bids because they can't be asked to check out information. We haven't bid for UGARTE. It's not official. The Branthwaite deal last night was official. And I think what we know about Man United is we're pretty happy when we put a bid in that the public knows. And I quite like that. As we saw with Branthwaite, I quite like that is now official. So I'm quite happy with that. We'll talk about Branthwaite in a minute. Got to give a big shout out to Sam C, who works with us on the United Stand. Messaged me last night. I just finished the show, unfortunately, so I couldn't bring it in last night. He messaged me last night and basically said that West Ham are expected to bid for Aaron Wan-Bissaka this week. Now, that's quite a big statement to put out, that West Ham are expected to bid for Aaron Wan-Bissaka this week, because if it doesn't happen, then we'll all go, well, where was all that from? So I think it's a good, look, honestly, one of the big things that I'm enthusiastic about this summer transfer window is that a lot of the things that are going on do make sense. Like Mason Greenwood, we'll talk about in a moment, but that deal makes sense for him. It makes sense for us. The sell-on clause, it makes sense. I think if Victor Lindelof goes and plays for another club in Europe for 10 million, it makes sense. Harry Maguire going and playing for another Premier League club, it makes sense. So Aaron Wan-Bissaka going to West Ham actually makes sense to me, because Wan-Bissaka's a very, very good Premier League right back. And I think he's not going to play for Man United. He's not going to play for Liverpool. He's not going to play for, Arsenal. But he definitely can play for somebody like West Ham or Crystal Palace or an Everton. And he'd be a very good player. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that he was keeping Delot out of the team. I think the problem with Wan-Bissaka for us is that we want to play in a very distinctive way. And Wan-Bissaka going forward is a bit of a problem. Defensively, very, very good. So West Ham are expected to bid for Wan-Bissaka. Who knows what that price would be? Could be 25 million, could be 15 million. I don't know. But the big thing about him is that if Wan-Bissaka goes, we've got to bring a right back in. And that again is exciting in itself, because who is that right back going to be? You tell me. I'm very, 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 very much of the persuasion that it should be Frimpong. But I don't know whether, that would be the right back that I think Man United wants. Some people don't think he's a right back. Zemish mentions Dumfries. I'm not going to have the argument about Frimpong isn't a right back. It's great that you've got an opinion on a Tuesday morning, but you can shove it up your arse. I genuinely think he would be brilliant for us as a right back at Manchester United in the way that we want to play. I just don't think you've got the intelligence to understand how we want to play, because you think we want to park ourselves on the edge of our own box with two defensive right backs. Two fullbacks. What we actually want to do is play on the halfway line with a sweeper keeper and fullbacks who overlap and get forward and invert, and therefore they're basically wingers. So Frimpong would be perfect for what we need. You're just you just haven't got a clue about how the way our manager wants to play, which is quite sad, really, considering that he's been at the club for 2 years and we also knew the sort of manager he was before he came in, and still people think we need a right back that he's holding hands with the centre back on the edge of the box. Baffling, but everybody's welcome. So who we would go for in relation to if Wan-Bissaka goes, I think would be very, very interesting. And I think the great thing about Frimpong is you could pick Delot and Frimpong, because you could play him further ahead if you wanted to. But look, that's for another time. At the moment, we'll have to see if this Wan-Bissaka deal happens, because what I've always said is that Wan-Bissaka will want to leave Manchester United this summer because he will want to play first team football. His career is actually on hold at Man United when he's just sitting on the bench, isn't it? Let's talk about Branthwaite then. We did do a video on this last night. Hopefully most of you watched it. So official bid from Manchester United went in for £45 million. Remember, a few weeks ago we offered 35 plus add-ons. We've just offered 45 plus add-ons. Everton, Billy Big Bollocks. Oh, we want 70. It's nowhere near what we want. So, at the end of the day, where are we at the moment? Look, Man United could walk away. I find it, I'll repeat it again, I find it absolutely baffling that Everton Football Club are happy for it to be fed out to the media that they see their price tag as being fair compared to what Maguire, Fofana and Vardiel went for. I'll say it again. The world knows, my cat knows that we got absolutely rinsed on Maguire, so you can't use that one. The world knows that Fofana's been injured pretty much since the day Chelsea bought him, so that's not a good example. And the world knows that Vardiel's been linked to Man United, Liverpool and Man City for the last 3 years and has been playing in the Champions League for Leipzig. So what the hell are you talking about comparing Branthwaite to Maguire and Fofana, who are two examples of not paying £80 million, Vardiel, who's better with a better CV, and then you're saying that Branthwaite should be the same price because he's had one good season in the Premier League, doesn't play for England, and hasn't played in the Champions League. They are having a laugh. They are absolutely entitled to ask for what they want, but at the end of the day, people are laughing at you. And Everton might not care because you keep the player, and I get that. If you want to ask for £70 million, just say you want £70 million. But coming out saying it's because of Vardiel, Maguire and Fofana, I think even Everton fans would laugh at that. It's a rubbish excuse. And look, just tell the truth. You want to make a £40 million player double the value because his passport's British. If he was bloody French, and if he was Danish, we'd be getting him for 40 million. I like Branthwaite. I think he's a good player. But £70 million is well and truly because he's got a British passport. He doesn't play for England. He hasn't played in the Champions League. He's had one good season in the Premier League, and you want to charge us a ridiculous fee. That's up to you. We walk away. Are you in Ten Hag's kitchen, says Sven? Yeah, he's just having a shower. 45 plus add-ons have to walk away if not accepted, says Simon. Everton think Dominic Calvert-Lewin is on par with Ronaldo and Messi, says it's Coos. Simon Evans, thank you very much. Patrick Lynch says, I wonder if some of the chatter with transfer targets is just confirmation that we've scouted players like Toney or Calvert-Lewin. Some might be credible, but just be player profiling. We're going to talk about Toney and Calvert-Lewin because this is a story from The Athletic in a moment. But look, just back onto Branthwaite, what happens next? I think that that there may be another offer, that there may well be another offer from Manchester United, but I think it's quite telling. I would have expected Everton to say £45 million plus add-ons is rejected, but, you know, let's keep talking. The fact that they're coming out with nonsense like Vardiel and Maguire and Fofana, I think you've sort of got to walk away, because I think top price and fair price would be £50 million plus 10 in add-ons. You know, some of you are going to go, no. But £50 million plus 10 in add-ons is a little bit more, and they end up with another 10 million. But I don't think they want to go anywhere near it. I really don't think they want to go anywhere near it. So you just got to walk away. And I'm going to give you one word. I'm getting the word Iheanacho. Iheanacho from Sporting Lisbon. Let's just go and do that deal. He's left-footed. That's what I would do. I think that's the deal for me. That's the one I would be happy with. 1 minute. People saying it's dropping out a little bit. I'm just going to do this. I'm in a different location. I've just got to go down the stairs. Rubbish. That was rubbish. I think with Branthwaite, you probably just walk away from that one. Let me just give you the update on Mason Greenwood. We had this last night from Chris Wheeler anyway, to be fair, but just a couple of updates. Just on centre-backs, by the way, Lenny Yoro, Man United, Real Madrid and Lille, ongoing negotiations for Lenny Yoro. Real Madrid remain confident on Yoro as the player's giving them absolute priority. His dream is Real Madrid. PSG, Liverpool and Man United have been insisting again in the last 10 days. Yoro's waiting for Real Madrid, negotiations ongoing. So it looks like Yoro's not going to happen, if we're being completely honest, doesn't it? This is Fabrizio's update on Mason Greenwood, by the way. Obviously last night, Chris Wheeler, who dropped the Branthwaite story, fantastic. Chris Wheeler said last night that £27 million is what Man United will get for Marseille. This is the latest on Greenwood from Fabrizio Romano in the last hour. Marseille, official proposal for Mason Greenwood is €30 million plus big sell-on clause. future sale percentage considered crucial by Man United, it can be around 40 to 50% with final round of talks going. I think this is a great deal. I've got to say, I said it last night and I'll say it again. I think that's a great deal. I think £27 million, 25, 27, whatever it is, up front, pure profit, helps us out, literally, goes straight in, no FFP, no amortisation, no deductions, £27 million straight in for Manchester United. And then, on top of that, Greenwood does well at Marseille, goes to somewhere like PSG, Juventus, wherever, for 60, we get another 30. So overall, you could end up with £27 million now and another £27 million in a couple of years. I think it's a good deal. I think it's a good deal all round. And I tell you what, I think it's a good deal for Greenwood. I think he gets to move on. We get rid of all this, bring him back. I don't think he ever wanted to come back, not in the current climate. I think he completely understands that he needs to get on. Simple as that. We've also just had, I wish I'd said this 5 minutes ago. I really wish I'd said this 5 minutes ago because I knew it was going to happen today. I said it yesterday. We've just had the announcement that Ruud van Nistelrooy has been announced by Manchester United. Let me just get that up as well. So much to talk about at the moment. We're going to talk about Toney and Calvert-Lewin next, but also on the agenda, we're going to talk about David Hanko as well, which is quite interesting. So bear with me, lots going on, and that's the way it's going to be at the moment. So make sure you smash a like and subscribe, of course, as per usual. Where is this announcement from Manchester United then? Is it on their website? Let me just get it up. Get it going. The Toney and Calvert-Lewin stuff is not bad source. It's Laurie Whitwell. It's The Athletic. So, yeah, it's an interesting one, that one. I can't find the update here. 4 p.m. a new... Where are you getting all this? I'm not getting it. Okay, I've got it now. Coming soon, Eric's first interview of the season premieres on Man United at 4 o'clock. Okay. Will the announcement for Ruud and Heck be today? It seems like it. On the United, it's on the app apparently. So I'm being guided by you here. Eric's first interview of the season premieres on MUTV at 4 o'clock. Don't miss it. Okay, well, we'll be reacting to that, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the Ruud. It's not Ruud yet. It's that. Okay. Well, let's move on. We can always come back to that. Nothing official on Ruud, but likely before 4 p.m. is the latest on that. Harvey Specter says, I agree Branthwaite is £50 million, not a penny more. However, this is our own doing, and the minute we go for a winger, the selling club will point to Anthony, says Harvey, which is exactly what I was saying last night about why you've got to be, firm in what you're doing and the ability to walk away. Sticks says, the problem is that Frimpong solves nothing with the current team. He would be the last piece of the puzzle. Well, he solves everything if we need a right back, mate. Are you in Ten Hag's kitchen? We've done that from Sven. Right, let me talk to you about Ivan Toney and Calvert-Lewin. Get your teeth around this. So, article in The Athletic this morning talking about Man United's current state of play. De Ligt, obviously. Branthwaite and De Ligt is what United would like to do. We know the latest on Branthwaite. Greenwood is going to go. Also, they're talking about this David Hanko, which we'll talk about in a minute. They mention UGARTE and the interest there. But interestingly, when talking about attackers, they mention Manchester United's interest in an experienced striker, i.e. Ivan Toney or Calvert-Lewin. Now, this is really interesting because I'm reading that and I'm going, is there a sell-by date on this article? Because it's come out in the last 24 hours and it's referencing Toney and Calvert-Lewin. Now, I've played the game, and I'm sure many of you know how the game works. When you send an article to the press, like I've got an article coming out with, I think it's Vogue magazine. No, it's not Vogue. No, I won't be in Vogue. It's quite a credible magazine, and I did a piece with them last week about Sir Jim Radcliffe, and it's coming out next month. So we had to, sort of time it around what that situation could be. I don't think Laurie Whitwell and The Athletic are going to sign off an article that's out of date. So why would Manchester... It's not Men's Health, Jacob, although I probably could. I'm on the front with my top off in a pair of Calvins. But no, I'm not. definitely not. I'm not ready for that. The world's not ready for that. But with this article, it says that Man United are considering Calvert-Lewin and Ivan Toney in their Playboy would be good in their quest for an experienced striker. Well, Xerxes not experienced and Rasmus isn't experienced, so you've got to take it as read. Now, my inclination is to say it's total nonsense. We're getting Xerxes, we've got Rasmus. We're not going to buy Ivan Toney or Calvert-Lewin. But the article is in the last few hours, so they could have took that out. Why would you keep that in when you could easily have took it out? So look, we've got to keep an open mind. It's a news show, and would Man United get Xerxes and get a Toney or a Calvert-Lewin? Would you even want that to happen? Look, Calvert-Lewin is going to be a player that Man United have looked at. I remember Sam C saying that to me a while ago. That Calvert-Lewin, for some reason, is a player that Man United like. Now, is it because he's homegrown? Is it because they genuinely think there's a good player there? I think with Calvert-Lewin, my honest reaction is, and it's nothing to do with Everton, it's nothing to do with Manchester United. My thoughts about Calvert-Lewin, not even, if somebody said to me, what do you think about Calvert-Lewin? And I had no inclination that Man United were interested. I'd say, no, Well, the best thing to ask about Calvert-Lewin is, when he's fit, should he be in an England squad? No, nowhere near the level of Toney, nowhere near the level of Watkins, nowhere near the level of Kane. I don't think he's anywhere near the level of Solanke, to be honest. So, I wouldn't put him in the top 5 strikers in England. On top of that, he's injury prone. And on top of that, he doesn't come across. I mean, I watched him play up front against Man City. Everton played really well at the Etihad. They defended really well. Their midfield was compact. But it was 0-0 at half-time or something like that. And I was like, if they don't score a goal, Man City will score a goal. And all this hard work will be for nothing. Calvert-Lewin that day was a bag of cement. He was absolute crap. And I was like, Everton have played really well, but Calvert-Lewin's offered nothing. And I was like, So for me, again, I'd look at Calvert-Lewin's consistency, even when he's fit, and go, he's one of those that I agree with Palm. I'd take Danny Welbeck now over Calvert-Lewin, 100%. And Calvert-Lewin, I don't even know how old Danny Welbeck is, but yeah, for me, Calvert-Lewin, I don't know who's scouting him. I read the Athletic piece, and it said that even though he's injury prone, Manchester United scouts would point to the fact that he was fit for 38 games last season. Well, that's even worse. If he was fit for 38 games last season, how many bloody goals did he score? He had a crap season. I thought he was injured most of the season. If he was fit for most of it, that's even bloody worse. So, no, Calvert-Lewin would be a big, big no for me, but we do keep getting linked to him. Ivan Toney mentioned in the article, look, Beth gets very excited about Toney as a footballer, and I think a lot of you do as well. Look, it was weird. It was really weird on Saturday night watching England play in the quarterfinal in a penalty shootout for the first time in my life. Absolutely not. It didn't make any sense. All my life, every penalty shootout for England, I've absolutely shit myself. And I was like, if this goes to penalties, we're going to win. Switzerland have took off most of their good attackers. They've got people like a Kanji taking penalties, and we've got Palmer won't miss, Ivan Toney won't miss, Trent won't miss. Bellingham was a little bit worried about, and I didn't think Saka would miss. So, England, Toney, his reputation is very high at the moment. He has an amazing self-belief, and there's no doubt about that. But that might be a disruptive self-belief as well. Apparently, Arsenal looked at him and decided no based on temperament, which doesn't mean he's a bad, he's doing well for England, but I wouldn't be worried about that. We've had all types of strikers at Manchester United in relation to personality. We had Teddy Sheringham and Andy Cole who didn't like each other, and we won a treble. So I'm not worried about disruptive people if you've got the right structure above them. I think the big thing with Toney would be that Brentford, quite rightly, will want 60 million. And also, in relation to what's happened in this Euros, as we were talking about with Guehi last night, they're going to quite rightly point to the fact that, all right, he might not be starting for England, but he's done well for England. He's put himself in the shop window and they'll want more money. So I don't really understand what the story is around Calvert-Lewin and what's his name? Calvert-Lewin and Toney, but it's in the Athletic this morning. And we obviously need to talk about it because it's a news show. Another player I want to talk about, bit niche, David Henko of Feyenoord is a player that's been mentioned in the article that might be expensive, but Manchester United would like him. You might have seen him in the Euros for Slovakia. Just having a quick look I don't know loads about him. I really don't. So I'm going to put my hands up here and say that I don't really know much about him. Can play as a centre-back and can also play as a left-back. Obviously left-footed. 26 years of age, currently at Feyenoord and has been there for the last couple of years. 7 goals in 65 games. And Man United have been linked to him. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Really don't. It's the first time I've heard us be linked to him at all. He's got a very, very long contract, 2028 before it runs out. So Feyenoord would obviously be looking at quite a lot of money. But then I look at that and I go, I don't really know anything about this lad. I really, really don't. If there's people in the chat who do, fair play, give us a little bit of an insight. Savage says he knows nothing about him. Yeah, well, look, the Athletic piece links us to him, and he can play left back and he can play left centre back. It also says that he might be out of our price range, but I would say that if we're being completely honest, a Feyenoord left back is not going to cost you as much as Kerkez at Bournemouth, and he's not going to cost you as much as Gutierrez at Girona. So although he might be expensive, I would say a Feyenoord left back is going to cost you less than 30 million quid. So I don't know. Look, it's another name to add into the equation. What I will say is that there's a lot of guesswork going on at the moment, and I quite like. Liam says he's very fast. I quite like it at the moment. I like it, what's going on with the transfer window. Massive shout out to Chris Wheeler for getting that exclusive last night. But really, it's been very late when we get news, and it's been Ornstein or Romano. So, it was really exciting last night to get that story come out, and then it get confirmed by people like Romano and Ornstein and Simon Stone that it was true. I think the great thing at the moment is that, look, I like it. Like last summer when I knew we were getting Erasmus way before anybody else did, and it's happened, and that's nice. But it's probably what happened with Chris Wheeler last night. There'll be somebody that Chris Wheeler knows close to Everton or close to Branthwaite that gives him that exclusive, and that's the way it should be. But what I really do like is there's a lot of guesswork. We know we're going to buy a left back, and people are trying to profess to know who that left back's going to be. I've spoken to Fabrizio about it. We spoke about it on the channel. The only name that's being mentioned is Kerkez, and I'm not convinced that he is who we're going to go for at Bournemouth. I don't think it's going to be him. And I think people want to be right. They want to, predict who it's going to be. But this Henko, I've never heard anybody bloody talk about him yet. And there he is. Ari says 26 million would be his price. And there he is, being linked to Man United. We've heard about Al-Nouri. We've heard about lots and lots of left backs. And look, we will buy a left back. There's no doubt about it. But who it's going to be, I think is quite exciting. My preference is Gutierrez at Girona because I think he's a really special player that would automatically come in and bench Luke Shaw, which I think needs to happen. I think he needs that kick up the backside, which is what a lot of those players need. And I like Luke Shaw. For me, Luke Shaw should start for Manchester United, but he shouldn't be in a position. The last thing you want, and we sort of had it with Varane, was that Varane was injury prone to a certain extent, but when he was fit, he was always going to play. And Luke Shaw is injury prone, but when he's fit, he's always going to play. And that's not a good thing to have a player that's always going to play, but is injured. You need somebody that, they can't help being injured. But what I'm saying is when they are injured, you're left with what is a very noticeable backup. And what we need is a very noticeable first teamer. Bjorn, thank you very much. Simon Evans has gifted a membership, absolute legend. Jordan says, I prefer more pay just for the banter than Calvert-Lewin, says Jordan. And United One says United should walk away from Branthwaite now. Toney would be a game changer for United and profile player, we need after the lack of goals last season. I just don't get it. I just don't get it, United one. I don't get the Toney I don't get the Toney story. I really don't. As I said, you've got to take it on face value on a news show, but you know, surely we've moved on from that now because we've got Xerxes coming in and we've already got Rasmus. So I don't get it, is my honest answer. But it is from a news show this morning. Sorry, it's not from a news show. It's from an article this morning. So, you know, that's where we're at with that at the moment. 1 minute. Sorry, everybody. It's all going on this morning. Basically, I'm in the kitchen because there's work going on, and there's no one else in the house because everyone's gone out and left me in charge. So sorry about that. So yeah, I think the Toney story is just really confusing to me because I don't really understand why we would be going for him when we've got Xerxes and Rasmus. But look, at the end of the day, I'm not going to refuse anything, and I don't think anybody should be refusing anything at the moment as Manchester United fans, because if we decide that we want to get Toney as well as Rasmus and Xerxes, I would never complain about having... Look, football's changed a lot, but when you had Solskjaer, Sheringham, York and Cole, sometimes on a match day, I'd be like, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? Because you can only play 2. You can't really play 3. So, look, I would never complain about Man United having Xerxes, Toney and Rasmus. I mean, I wouldn't, because I think it would be fantastic to have that many options, but where's the money coming from and why would we do it? Have you heard anything on Kadioglu, the Turkish left-back? According to Man United, we're interested. Manchester Evening News. What Manchester Evening News do is they just aggregate other information, mate. I think I know what you're talking about. There's a Turkish report that we're interested in Kadioglu, who played in the Euros. It's not good enough to be discussing at the moment. He might be an option at left back, but what you get is what I've said to you before. I saw an article today in the Manchester Evening News where they were like talking about the Branthwaite bid being rejected, and they put in their article, as reported by Manchester Evening News a month ago, Manchester United are interested in Branthwaite. They've got nothing to do with that story. It was Chris Wheeler's and it was confirmed by Ornstein and Romano. It's just an opinion piece, which is fine. I've just spent 45 minutes talking to you, or half an hour talking to you about opinion. But yeah, a lot of people aggregate information just to create information. And it's a bit like BBC. I used to look at it years ago. I think they still do it. BBC Sport website, football gossip. So they put it on their website as a big list, and it will say Man United want to sign Bale, but then it will say according to Sport in Portugal, in Barcelona, or Man United want to sign, you know, I don't know, João Neves according to Record in Portugal. Have you had anything on Cadigo done that? I think £50 million plus 5 million add-ons should get Branthwaite. As for Toney, I like him, but he's also very arrogant like Pogba. It's a Slow Sports News. Okay. CJ says to add a more experienced striker makes sense, but I'd have thought we'd have gone for one instead of Xerxes. In my opinion, it's dead in the water. Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you on that. Shubham, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you everybody who's getting involved with the channel, by the way. We were live at 10 o'clock last night for about 40 minutes, a bonus stream. I think for the next couple of weeks, certainly until we're on the tour, I think there's a real potential for, you know, so much is going on with Man United at the moment. And when you think about it, I know some people go, oh, well, so much is going on at the moment. I don't see so much going on with Arsenal or Liverpool. The reason so much is going on with Manchester United at the moment is because of things like Greenwood's got to go, Wan-Bissaka potential bid, what's happening with Maguire, what's happening with McTominay, what's happening with Lindelof. And on top of that, we need to buy a left back. We might need to buy a right back. We want to buy 2 centre backs. you know, we want a midfielder, we want a striker. If we don't get Branthwaite, we've just spent 3 weeks talking about Branthwaite, what Branthwaite brings to the team. First bid rejected, second bid rejected. If we walk away, we've got to go and do that again with another player. So you know what I mean? It's like, it's just so busy because not everything gets done quickly and not everything gets done. So, you know, what if the Marseille Greenwood deal collapses? You've got to go another week dealing with another club. So there's just so much going on at the moment, and you know, it's great, but you know, you've got to work hard. You've got to no, you haven't got to work hard. I'll try and work hard for you, and we can discuss it. But as I said last night, we're talking about a genuine official bid for Branthwaite, and people are going, oh, bid for UGARTE, and it's like, I've played the game. That UGARTE story doesn't belong in the same category as the Branthwaite bid, where you've got Simon Stone, David Ornstein, Chris Wheeler, Fabrizio Romano, all saying it's an official bid. The UGARTE bid was from France, and it's not an official bid. So, you know, we've got to progress with what we progress with. And, you know, obviously, I think we all want to be in a position where we are starting to sign players, you know, we've got to start, you know, signing players that that helps. But look, also as we were live, a very exciting news that Erik ten Hag's going to give his first press conference today. I did wonder whether we're going to get that, and I think that's overdue in itself, isn't it? With Ten Hag, you know, it's the start of pre-season. It makes sense that he does a sit-down interview, and I'll certainly be reacting for you that a little bit later on. And it'd be very interesting to see what he's got to say. I mean, obviously, it's not a press conference in the sense that there will be questions, but like, he won't face any difficult questions. It's for MUTV, so it'll be very, very tame, I think. But as we know with Erik, he has been quite upfront in what's required, and I'm very interested to see if there's any hints of genuine optimism, or whether there might be, you know, might drop his guard a little bit. So yeah, very interested to see how that's going to play out. Get your questions in. Why have the João Neves talk stopped, says Zemish. Well, I just want to make sure we've spoke about Branthwaite, we've spoke about Hanko, we've spoke about Toney, we spoke about Calvert-Lewin, we spoke about Wan-Bissaka, we spoke about Yoro, we spoke about Greenwood. So we're all, and we've spoken about UGARTE. So we're up to date on every little bit of transfer news at the moment, which is great. In relation to João Neves, if you didn't watch the interview with Fabrizio yesterday, I think with João Neves, it's just because Benfica will not negotiate on a price, and therefore they want 120 million euros. And, you know, people will tell us to shut up and wind our neck in because Benfica and Everton do not have to sell to us if they don't want to. But also, I think in a general sense, you've got to get realistic in the transfer window. Man United have clearly got realistic with Mason Greenwood. I think he's worth 40 million. We're going to take 27 and then try and get 40% of the next sale. That's being realistic, because the market is the market. And I think some clubs are operating in, I mean, look, Everton fans get very, very protectful of their club, and that's absolutely fine. But whoever's running your football club is deluded. Absolutely deluded. I mean, to compare Branthwaite to Maguire, Fofana and Vardiel in the first place is incredible, when two of those fees were way too much. I mean, you're almost, I don't want to labour this point too much, but if you're Everton Football Club and you say we're rejecting your fair offer because of what was paid for Maguire and Fofana and Vardiel, and you go, hold on a minute then, you're sort of proving our point. Vardiel went to Man City, who are under investigation for 115 charges, so don't take any notice of what they pay for anybody. Fofana has been serially injured, so is a flop, so it's a big red flag not to spend £80 million on a centre-back. And Harry Maguire at £80 million gets ridiculed, so is a big red flag not to do it. So talking about those three deals as a reason to buy Branthwaite actually would make me go, do not do that. Don't do that. So, they, like Terp says, do they think Mert is still here? Because it's absolutely, you know, it's absolutely incredible. But on top of that, football's changed as well. Like, people aren't going to pay £70 million for Branthwaite. No one's going to do it. Man City won't do it, and they probably could. If Chelsea did it, they'd give you £5 a week for the next 100 years. So look, if clubs don't want to get realistic, there's not a lot you can do. And I think it's the same with Benfica. They want these they put these release clauses on, and then they expect people to pay them. And look, Chelsea did pay the Enzo one, but I don't think it's. I agree with Andrew. I think it's a buyer's market now. And actually, you know what? The centre back market, there's lots of centre backs. It's nice to get what you want, but you can pivot. You can pivot away from Branthwaite. You can pivot to a Nacho who's left-footed. Maybe you could pivot to Hanko and go, well, he can play left centre back and left back. Maybe that's what you do. But look, I don't know Everton's situation. I don't know Benfica's situation, but realistically, you've probably got two players there that want to leave as well. And if I was a player, if I was João Neves or I was Branthwaite and I was looking at these offers and going, well, they've made a fair offer there and you're pricing me out of a move and I wanted to go, I wouldn't be very happy. But I don't know. Branthwaite might be like, look, if I go, I go. If I don't, I don't. I really don't care. Look, honestly, I don't care. I don't care. I'm actually somebody that really likes João Neves and really likes Branthwaite, and I would love them to be at Manchester United. I really, 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 really would. But on the other hand, I don't care if we walk. I really don't, because I've been crying out for this for years. We've got to start acting like a proper football club, because buying the likes of Jadon Sancho for 75 million and Paul Pogba for 89 million has killed this, and Harry Maguire for 80 million pounds has killed this football club. It's killed us. Look, as I said, I don't know what Everton think. Who Everton think that? Who do you think you're talking to? Like, we are the experts in this. What do they think we're going to do when they go, we're not accepting 45 million because we believe, look at Maguire, 80 million. What do you think we're going to do? You're right. You're right, actually. We will give you 80 million. You're right. We know that Maguire on 80 million, on 190k a week, has been unsellable, really, for years. Look at Jadon Sancho, 75 million pounds. We can't sell him because of the price we paid and the wage he's on. So we've got to walk away from sort of this stuff, really. I'd be quite happy for somebody else to start taking those risks, because look at Enzo Fernandez at Chelsea. He's a very good player, but how much are they paying him in wages? How much have they paid him? How much have they still got to play to Benfica? I just don't think it's worth it anymore. I really, really don't. Got another update coming in for you here. Oh yeah, we've got the let me just get it for you. Aaron Wan-Bissaka could be among those set to leave Man United in the coming weeks as they look to sell to buy. West Ham will make a bid. Yeah, we've done that one as well. Also, keep questions coming in. Shakhtar, if you've got any questions about any specific transfers, by the way, we've got a little bit of time at the end of the show, so always get them in. Sven says, Shakhtar did the same with Mudryk. Their president said that Mudryk is not worse than Grealish and wanted 100 million for him, and Chelsea paid it. Ranbir says, United were not nice to Everton in selling Rooney, Neville, Donny, Garner. Just ask him to hand a transfer request in and send a final bid, says Ranbir. I don't get Everton's valuation. There's no other bids, says Rahul. Rotham Farm have gifted 5 memberships, by the way. Absolute legend. Look, everybody. Will Martinez says there's a done deal coming today. Just watch. Well, I would say just subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, and get involved. It's very exciting at the moment. And you know what I would say about the Branthwaite deal as well is, good player. Everton can do what they like, and we can say what we like. It's not personal. If I was an Everton fan, I'd be saying, screw United, we're not going to get ripped off. I understand that completely. But you know what I find exciting about it all is that in a normal transfer window, when I think about the Pogba deal, when I think about the Sancho deal, when I think about the Bruno deal, when I think about the Maguire deal, sucked the life out of it, didn't it? Let's just take a moment to remember what those deals were like. Sucked the life out of it for 6 weeks. For 6 weeks, we'd be like, oh, I don't even care about this deal anymore. And it would be the only deal we were working on. So we'd have 6 weeks of this week, question mark, today's the day. You know, one deal, 6 weeks, boring. And that's what we were used to. So even if this Branthwaite deal falls through, we're waiting for Xerxes, De Ligt, UGARTE, Greenwood to go. The 2 years Sancho took, says Nathaniel, exactly. So we've got things going on at the moment that if Branthwaite deal falls through, last year or 2 years ago, that would have been all we were working on. And we'd be like, oh God, just get it done. Whereas now we're working on so many other things. And beyond Branthwaite, there are other options. So I think that, I think I'm quite comfortable about it. Ideally, I want us to get the player that we want. And I think it could still happen. I just think Everton aren't playing hardball. They're playing stupid ball. De Jong was expensive as well. Any news on Desiree Doué, who I can't pronounce his name, from Rennes, says Gono. He's a player we've been linked to for a long time. I think in the absence of, I don't really know a lot about him. He's a hipster. He's a hipster's love affair, isn't he? But I don't really know anything about him. I've got to be very careful what I say, by the way, because even though we're deep into this video, I did say last night when I was talking about Marcus Rashford that even though I was talking about how much I like Rashford and what he needs to do to be good, I'll get clipped up or taken out of context by some hater who, for whatever reason, watches every minute of this show, because that was quite late in the video. I actually got sent a screenshot by somebody last night from somebody who'd got a load of retweets and likes by slagging me off for hating Marcus Rashford and saying that I wanted Anthony to start in the FA Cup final over him. So not only now I'm being taken out of context, they're actually putting stuff in that I didn't say. So I've got to be very careful what I say about hipsters and people, because they are watching, ready to take it out of context. But I don't know anything about him. And, I definitely didn't say I wanted Anthony to start over Rashford, by the way. Bullshit. But I don't know anything about him, really. Is he a winger? Is he a number 10? If he's a number 10, do we need a player like that? If he's a winger, could he be the Elise sort of alternative? Maybe. I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see. Just go for Kimmich, says Trigger. I'd love Kimmich at Man United. I don't know why we're not looking at him, but we're not at the moment. I don't know why we're not looking at Kimmich, but I do really like him, definitely. Anyway, look, absolute legends this morning. Thanks everyone for tuning in, especially in the kitchen, which is a little bit out of the ordinary, but we like to do that. It makes me reminisce of walking to work when I had a 9-to-5 job doing the morning show on a phone. Don't see many people doing that these days, do you? Goats remember that. But look, there's so much going on at the moment. I think I've covered everything. In fact, I'm sure I am. Big takeaways are that UGARTE bid is not official, so don't be expecting a big update on that as of yet. We'll have to see what happens with Branthwaite, and we're still waiting on Here We Goes. And on top of that, we've got a Ten Hag press conference to react to later on as well, which I'm looking forward to. Make sure you subscribe. It's all going on. So much to get into. Smash a like on the video and subscribe, and I'll speak to you all later. Take care. How the bloody hell do I turn this off? Well, it won't be on there. It must be on here. Imagine if I said something controversial now. Don't even like football. I've got an invisible earpiece where people tell me stuff. I don't like football. I hate sport. I'm just doing it because I'm not even a Man United fan. I'm not a fan of football at all. It's all fake. My name's John. I love accounting and big long walks. Right, okay. I know I'm talking to you there, by the way. I'm trying to figure out how to stop this video. It'll get taken out of context. That's the great thing. Okay. All right. I think this is what you do. Okay. Take care, everyone. Speak to you all in a bit. Legends.